was your initial reaction watching the debate last week?
I've communicated this, and I've spoken about it with many Democrats here in Rhode Island and across the country, my colleagues in Congress, and we're of course disappointed, right? Because the stakes are so high in the election. The stakes, as we see with the Supreme Court decision yesterday, from making sure that we are able to function in the constitutional democracy we have, but also that we fight for working people across Rhode Island and across the country. And what we heard from former President Trump last week, 3 times not committing to accepting the results of the election, multiple times lying about his own record, and of course just a lack of commitment to fighting for people in the middle class, for people who are struggling in this country and need government to be there for them.
My reaction was the president was not at his best form, but he has done an excellent job as President of the United States, and frankly, Trump had a disastrous presidency, and it's going to be even worse if he's elected. He's already told people he's going to take revenge on people, and now the Supreme Court is giving him immunity to do so. But very dangerous times. So the choice in my mind is very clear.
I expressed horror about both individuals' performance in the debate, both what I called President Biden's blips and the foul barrage of lies that Trump nonstop emitted. So to be clear, there were 2 issues with that debate, and I'll leave it to people to decide whether somebody who can't tell the truth is better or worse than somebody who has a blip.
I think the president, like many of us, is focused on what we're going to do to be successful in November. The biggest concern I have with that premise is that we do not have a return to the White House of Donald Trump. That is what I'm laser focused on. Every single time you're going to hear me focus on that. That's why I'm working so hard. That's why you see me talking to Democrats around the country.
You've worked in the Biden administration, though. Have you ever seen the president like he was in the debate on Thursday?
Look, I have not seen the president like he was in the debate on Thursday, but that's because I have had the experience of hearing the president in difficult times, helping navigate crises that I've worked on, from extreme weather to mass shootings, and also talk about the work that we needed to do together to invest in the American people and our communities around the country.
There's been reports that over the last 6 months, President Biden's cognitive function has had similar kind of lapses to what we saw during the debate on Thursday. Have you seen any of that firsthand?
Never seen any of that. He's always been terrific when I've seen him.
And had you heard, concerns about that leading up to the debate?
Nope.
Are you concerned about what this now means?
I think that's why it was such a shock when the blips happened.
Up close, it's much different. Because it's a conversation, and it's more of a, I've in meetings, I've seen him, and he's been incredibly not only coherent, but calling on his vast experience, asking difficult questions, and getting to the heart of the issue.
So are you concerned about the next 6 months or the next 4 years where things are going?
Well, you have to look ahead, but again, I think he is consistently over these last 4 years and currently, the next day he was in North Carolina and he was rocking the rafters with, coherence and, connection and everything else. And, I think that's more of Joe Biden than what we saw on the debate.
That's what we need to determine. That's why I said they need to be candid with us about what the situation is. But as far as I can tell, it was far less serious than Leader McConnell's blips, and in my view, far less serious than the cascade of lies that just pours out of Donald Trump's mouth every time he opens it. So, I think we fixate on it because we're frightened of what a Trump presidency means in the Democratic Party. But I think on balance, the Republicans tolerate worse blips from their majority leader, who's the most powerful and senior Republican there is in Washington right now. and they all line up obediently behind whatever the latest pack of lies is that Trump tells. So I'm trying to keep some perspective about all this.
Amongst Democrats in Washington, has the conversation or the feeling about the president changed over the last week? Are people more concerned?
No, I think the concern was the dynamics of that debate. Was he well prepared? Was he over prepared? That's one of the issues, I think. And also I think he treated it as a real sort of engagement on the issues rather than former President Trump. This is my opportunity to say anything I want to say, even if it's all wrong and false and deliberately degrading to people. Comments like black jobs. Jobs in America are based on talent and effort. There aren't black jobs and white jobs. But in Donald Trump's mind, there are black jobs. And do you want to elect someone like that who truly sort of believes it?
There have been some calls for the president to step aside and let another Democrat run. Where do you stand?
Look, I think we have to focus right now not on the sort of theatrics of, West Wing fan fiction, and instead focus on the stakes of the election at hand. So I know there are conversations happening with colleagues of mine across the country, with lots of people who support Democrats. Those conversations will continue to happen. I think it's best that, those will eventually run their course and we focus on this election. And that's all I'll say about that.
This choice is pretty clear. You have someone who lied for 90 minutes when he had the opportunity to, Trump. You have someone who says he's going to take revenge on and now the Supreme Court says he's got immunity to do so in a certain degree. Then you have his own policies, which is I'm going to eliminate the income tax and I'm going to put tariffs on everything that comes to the United States, which means when you go to a grocery store and try to buy something, there's an extra inflationary impact. This is someone, he's been convicted of crimes.
What do you think the president and the campaign need to do now moving forward from this debate?
Well, I've been telling them for months now that I think they need to have a more aggressive campaign tone. That the President Biden, who we saw at the State of the Union, taking it to the Republicans in Congress in real time, live, without a teleprompter, and mastering that exchange, that's the president that we need to see out there. And that there are plenty of important fights we need to have, and he needs to show people in America that he's up for those fights. So I've been saying that all along. Nothing has changed, and I'm hoping that this actually might turn to advantage so that they take on the offense part of my formula, which is Biden plus offense equals victory.